Welcome back to another episode of the Virtual GM podcast. Today is amazing. We have Dina, the president of Staypineapple, and she talks about so many cool things. We talk about the Naked Experience. You're going to want to know what that is. We talk about the independent hotel show that's taking place in Miami, September 17th through the 18th. And we also jump into AHLA, the American Hotel Lodging Association, how you can join that, make an impact on the hospitality industry. And if you stay tuned to the end, we have a special gift for all of our listeners, so do not miss it. And most importantly, enjoy the episode. Wherever you are and however you are listening, thank you so much for being back with us on another episode of the Virtual GM podcast. So excited because today we have another guest. I have the president of Staypineapple, Dina Belon. Dina, thank you so much for being here with us today.
I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be fun.
And what's amazing, this is actually our second person from Staypineapple that's been on the podcast. We were lucky enough, we were at the Purchase and Design event by BITAC in Scottsdale in the beautiful Biltmore by Waldorf Astoria. And we got to interview Mary Kirkpatrick, which was awesome. And so I'm so excited now we get to have Dina. But of course, it wouldn't be the Virtual GM podcast if we didn't start with the segue. And I told Dina I will go first to give her the lay of the land. So I will start with my business best. It is the beginning of the month. Today is March 7th. And our commitment for our clients is that we'll get them all of their end-of-month finances by the 10th of every month. So that's their reconciled bank statements, their P&Ls for the last month, year-to-date, and their balance sheet. And we have gotten all of that done. So that feels super good. That's always the very first big check mark of every single month. And so that feels great. And then personal was a little bit of a hybrid. Logan from Talzy AI, who is an AI service that we use, came down to Southern Utah, and we got to go out and golf together on Monday. So that was like two birds, one stone, a little bit of personal, a little bit of business. But so far it's been a great week. So Dana, let's hear from you. What is your business best and your personal best?
Sure. I just got back from a conference in Orlando and got to learn some really interesting things about AI and the digital transformation for the hospitality industry. So that was definitely a big highlight for business in the last week. And then a couple weeks ago, I went to Capitol Hill. So a little bit of a hybrid between personal and business.
Cool.
But I got the opportunity to go to DC and speak to congressmen and senators about tax relief and workforce issues and general, hospitality industry challenges. And it was really exciting. And that was through the American Hotel Lodging Association and the Independent and Boutique Committee. So very exciting opportunity.
That's awesome. I figured that sounded like a little bit of an AHLA activity. So, I want to talk about Staypineapple, but I'm really curious. Any big ahas takeaway from the AI conference?
Some of mine was we've been very involved in AI for a couple of years now already internally. So we have our own AI called Pineapple. We've ingested all of our marketing, website, everything that we've ever really written into it, and it can speak now, Pineapple.
That's so cool. So is that speaking to guests then, Pineapple?
It does not speak to guests.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay.
So our current AI strategy is utilizing AI behind the scenes to help our team members have an easier job, right? Make their activities simpler.
That's very cool. So if someone has a task, they could go to Pineapple and say, I'm working on this. How would you phrase this or something like that? And then that Pineapple already knows the ins and outs of you guys, so it can spit out all the information that they need.
Yeah, as an example, Pineapple helps the teams write their review responses. So great way for us to use that. The team members are still personalizing them, but it gives them a starting point. But one of the things that I found most interesting is really using AI for financial analytics. And I'm really excited about, we haven't quite gotten there yet, but I want to get to the point where I can ask Pineapple, hey, do an analysis of the revenue over the last month for Hotel Z compared to University Inn, and explain X, Y, and Z. So that's what I'm excited about.
Isn't it amazing what it can do? I consult for a tech company, and we'll throw that stuff. They built their AI database as well, and you'll just throw it in there, and it'll spit out like, here's where you're weak, and here's where you're strong, and these were the changes. This is where it's just like, and in seconds, where it would have taken a human, maybe a day or two to do the due diligence to come up with the same information.
It is. It's incredible. It's so exciting, and it's changing so quickly. So, yeah.
I love that you guys have built a database internally, because I think, like we use it, but we're just using ChatGPT. So it can use a little bit of what's readily available, but it's not necessarily built for us. And so that's so cool to hear that you guys are doing that. Do you anticipate or see yourself using it consumer facing, like where AI will interact with your guests?
No, we're a very high touch, personalized service business model. So the only thing we do currently, and probably will be our limits, is pre-check-in.
Sure.
You still go to the desk though, because we don't do digital phone keys.
Okay.
Because we want to interact with our guests.
Yeah.
And our guests are more interactive and personalized service interest, right? So I think AI is going to be something in other brands that probably will get pretty popular, but it just doesn't really work for our business model.
Sure.
That way.
And do you think that you will use AI in some functionality for like revenue management?
We currently do.
Oh, you do?
So we run, our current revenue management is run on automated systems with oversight from a human being.
Of course.
But yeah, we've been doing that for a few years.
That's awesome. So let's talk about Staypineapple. So you guys have 10 properties now, anywhere from 56 keys to 142, so about 100 key average. And I do want to jump on your motto, the home of the naked experience. So let's start there, because if that doesn't get your attention, I don't know what will.
We do like to do edgy things that get people's attention.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's some of the fun things about being an independent, right?
Absolutely. That's the best part about it.
Yeah, there's no board out there telling us that we can't do that. So yeah, the home of the naked experience is really based around our bed and linen and terry, which is 6-star quality. And it's so comfy, cozy, and amazing that you'll want to sleep naked. Oh,
I love that. What a smart way to create some interest. And then it totally makes sense logically when you explain it.
Yeah. And the funnest thing is our little door hangers, do not disturb door hangers, actually say, "Go away, I'm naked."
That's awesome. I love that. So you've been with Staypineapple for about 9 years. What's your favorite part about Staypineapple? What makes it so unique and special?
Yeah, I think what our brand is all about is what makes it unique and special. It is really that hyper-personalized service model. It always has been. We can talk about in a little bit. We're using technology a lot for that now.
Sure.
But 12 years ago when Staypineapple started, we really started with the old-fashioned listen to what guests are saying and to us, or just in general in the lobby, and try to find keywords or key phrases that indicate that there's something that we could do to surprise and delight them. Whether it's the simple, overhear somebody saying it's their anniversary,
yeah,
and we do something special for them, or it's something more elaborate. We've talk to somebody at the front desk and they're really nervous about a job interview, or whatever the thing is that's going on with them that day. So we've always done that, but there's some really cool, neat new technology things that we have implemented that are helping us just up that game and do it much more consistently and with a lot more of our guests than we have previously.
That's excellent. So do you, obviously, I'm sure you like them all, but do you have a property that's your favorite to go visit?
It's so hard. Everybody always asks me
Yeah, I was
that.
gonna
They're
say. I
like,
think I asked Mary that. I don't think she wanted to answer. I can't remember.
I know. They're like our children. I do have an affinity for New York.
Okay.
It was the last hotel we brought online. It's in Manhattan, and I personally renovate or did. It was new construction, but we bought it from the developer's white box. So I personally did. I lived on property for about 3 months, finishing that up and
Oh,
getting
that's
it
cool.
done. And so yeah, it has a little bit of a personal element to me. But I love Chicago. It's so stately and beautiful. It's a historic building. Boston is quirky and small. It's 56 rooms and has a bar on the ground floor. Hotel Z has our highest customer service scores in our portfolio. They just nail it every day with zero amenities in that hotel. It's literally a box with a postage size lobby, and somehow they are ranked number 7 on TripAdvisor for the whole city.
And where's that one at?
It's in San Diego.
Oh, okay. Hotel Z, it's called.
Yeah, it's right in the gas lamp. So yeah, it there's a little affinity there, but they all have. San Francisco is a beautiful hotel. I call it the Holy Marble Hotel because it's got more Carrara marble in it than I think is in Italy.
Wow. So do you guys obviously own and operate those 10? Do you guys manage other properties too, or is it just owner operated?
We are transitioning currently. So we've historically been owner operated, and we are going to an asset lighter model.
Okay.
Selling all of our hotels, but we've sold a couple of them.
Okay.
And converted them to management contracts.
I got
branding. It. And then we are out in the market looking for other hotel owners that might find the Staypineapple brand fits their hotel. We're talking to somebody right now in Chicago that would be a nice marriage to our current hotel there. They'd really complement each other well. But yeah, it's exciting. It's really fun to get new owners into the Staypineapple umbrella. We have our first one started in November. And so that's been, it's been so interesting to see a team that has always been super close knit and we did everything ourselves.
Yeah.
Start interacting with an owner and finding new ways to look at things. It kind of started with our accounting department and the new owner wanting to see, financial information differently. And they're like, oh, well, this is kind of cool. We could actually incorporate this in how we do it for all the other hotels. And so we're learning a lot.
That's really very great. Cool. So in that scenario, then you would, that new property would then be a Staypineapple hotel. You guys just wouldn't own it. There'd be an ownership group, but the guest experience would be the same as it would be any of your other properties.
Yeah, we're not franchising. We're only branding and managing in conjunction. Because the Staypineapple brand is so personalized service oriented, it's challenging to try to write that into a manual and hand it off to another management company.
Sure.
To really be able to hit that very, very high level of service. So yeah.
Well, and certainly you wouldn't want it to damage if someone stayed at a property that wasn't operating in the same capacity. You don't want that brand damage to happen for your other assets. That makes sense.
And particularly we have a lot of passionate pineapple guests that know our brand very well and are major advocates for us. And we want to make sure that we meet that brand promise.
Absolutely.
And make it the same experience.
That's what's made Staypineapple so special, so you can't lose that special sauce. Well, we could probably talk about Staypineapple for another 30 minutes, but we do have to talk about the Independent Hospitality Show that is taking place in Miami, September 17th through the 18th at the Miami Beach Convention Center. And Dina, you've been on the board now for 3 years. So you were on the board before it even started. This is my first year, so I can't wait to get out there and see what it's like. But I'd love for you to share with our listeners who are the ideal audience for this show, pretty much majority of our listeners are in that independent boutique space. And so I'd love for you to share some of that perspective with the listeners. So they can have an idea of what to expect if they're able to make it out there this September.
Yeah, it's a wonderful show. It's really amazing to have a show that is all about the independent and boutique space. It's a great trade show, which is unusual. The few other, industry independent type shows, I don't think highlight a trade show element quite as well as the Independent Hotel Show in Miami does. And what I really love is the way that they've formatted all of the educational sessions. Everything is in one large hall. So the trade show floor and both of the different formatted presentations are also on the trade show floor in kind of the back and the side section.
Okay.
And then they have a really lovely lounge for the operators and owners to be able to kind of go and talk amongst themselves. There's a really great island kind of in the middle of the trade show floor that's for gathering and talking. So they provide a lot of networking opportunity, cocktail hours and events in the evening that really encourage everybody to meet and mingle. I think the thing that independents and boutiques have the biggest challenge with is having somebody else to talk to and ask, like, how do you do this? What are the best practices around that? And I think we would all be open and willing to share with each other if we had kind of a channel to do that. And I think that's why I got involved and have been a big proponent of the show, because I think it starts to create those opportunities. And the AHLA, I'm the chair of the American Hotel Lodging Association's independent boutique committee. And we are there, and we'll also be having a cocktail hour to try to, again, create more opportunity for that sharing and cross collaboration in the independent space.
Well, and how many people don't even know what AHLA does or how to be a part of it? And that's a membership-based organization, correct? And obviously, you need the funds to be able to do the things like what you guys are doing in Capitol Hill isn't free. It costs money to get you all there, and it costs money to execute that. And you guys are doing such a huge service for the hospitality industry. And so often, hoteliers who maybe they've just got their 12-room boutique hotel somewhere don't even necessarily know like the cogs that are moving to try and keep our industry moving forward. And so perhaps you could even talk a little bit about AHLA since you are the chair. I didn't know that we would end up there, but I think it's an important message that needs to be shared. And the membership, if I remember right, I think it was like $600 a year, at least for our size of our company. I think it's based on how many employees you have, but it's an incredibly important program. So do you want to talk a little bit about HLA?
Yeah, it is a trade association for hotels of any size or shape. Certainly the big brands are involved in the association, but we have had a really strong push over the last few years to try to pull more and more of the independents into the association, which is part of the creation of the committee. I also sit on the AHLA board and represent independents and try to make sure that the voice of the independent hotel is heard, and our issues, which are unique and oftentimes, are addressed. The fees for membership are per guest room. So
guest room.
I think it's really fair based on the size of your hotel, right? Your fees are allocated that way. So it makes it, I think, pretty reasonable. There's also the foundation. The AHLA Foundation is underutilized. The foundation has created so many workforce opportunities and tools, including professional development scholarships to take courses and classes and improve your workforce. And all of those are free to members. There's Forward, which is the women's leadership conference every year, and kind of really movement within the AHLA, trying to get women into more leadership roles. So there's so many things. I think if there's any fault to the association is that there's so much that sometimes people can get overwhelmed and they have a hard time getting the message out about all the great opportunities there are within the association. So,
well, I'll tell the listeners, during COVID, so in 2020, I was the executive director of the Utah Tourism Industry Association, so our nonprofit that represents Utah. And AHLA was critical in that time of helping us move forward and figure out what we're going to do in this, unforeseen situation that we found ourselves in. And they're just such a paramount organization. So if you're listening to this and you don't know what it is, please go check it out. And if you are listening and you know what it is, but you haven't yet joined, please do, because it makes such a huge impact on our industry.
It does. It does. And it was a great time. I was on Capitol Hill last week, having the opportunity to meet with senators and representatives from around the country and talk to them about what's important for the hotel industry and specifically what's important for the independent and boutique hotel, the small business out there, which resonates with our congressmen a lot.
Absolutely.
Right? They like that they can go back to their constituency and say, I'm helping small businesses and I'm helping build employment opportunity in our communities.
And the squeaky wheel gets the grease, so we need to be out there and let ourselves be heard. We've got here in Utah, we've got obviously these beautiful national parks that really help our visitation. And so sometimes our senators and congressmen think like, oh, you're good. But it's like, no. Like we still got problems, and we've got saturation and there's all these things happening. Like we still need support. We still need our TMTF. We still need our advertising fund for the state. Like just because you go to the park and it's busy doesn't mean that these small little hoteliers are all being successful. We need support.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we were specifically talking to them about tax relief. So that's a big topic this year. And it will, if the current tax cuts aren't extended, then it will have a huge impact on our industry, and particularly for hotel owners.
Absolutely. Well, so you talked about the convention floor, and I'm so excited to hear about all those opportunities to network and meet people, because the one thing about hospitality is that's the greatest group of people. So you're going to have a good time. You're going to make good connections, and people are friendly. And I'm curious, so has it always been at the Miami Beach Convention Center?
It has.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the location they've picked, and it's a wonderful spot. That if you haven't been to that convention center, it's a beautiful convention center. It's amazingly well laid out, and it's right in the heart of Miami Beach, and
Even
in
better.
the heart of a very thriving independent and boutique hotel sector there. There's a ton of boutique hotels in that market. I would highly recommend, if you're going, to find one of them and stay at one of them. So many family-owned, private, independent hotels in that market, and they're beautiful and fun. And you're 2 blocks away from the beach.
It sounds pretty good to me. And they are, we're projecting to have 200 plus products and services there. So a ton of people to meet, not only that can help your business, but relationships, like Dina talked about as far as networking goes. If you're interested, the URL is independenthotelshow.us. And that will give you all the information that you need. I'll put that URL in the show notes. We'll also put the Staypineapple website in the show notes as well. And I know that the Independent Hotel Show has been in London and in Munich. Have you had a chance to go to any of those?
I haven't, but I look forward to it. Yeah, I'm going actually to my first conference in Amsterdam this year. So we are starting to spread our wings into Europe a little bit. And I look forward to going to see one of the ones on the other side of the pond.
Well, it sounds like, I think Staypineapple is a good brand for Europe. I think you guys would do really well over there.
Yeah, we do. We have a really strong European contingency.
I'd imagine.
Our guest profile. Europeans tend to have an affinity for our brand.
Very cool. Well, let me tell you this, or let me ask you this, I should say. If our listeners want to have a naked experience, where's the best place for them to go? Is it just staypineapple.com?
Yeah. staypineapple.com. You'll find them all. We're in New York, Boston, Chicago, San Diego, San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle. So all urban, city center, super well located. That's one of our core principles is we find the best location so you don't have to worry about it.
I love that. Well, and if you want to meet Dina in person, just book your event for September 17th through the 18th in Miami for the Independent Hotel Show. And what's amazing is that they've done a huge offer for our listeners. So if you're listening to this, you can go and register with code VGM free and they will waive your registration. So you got no reason not to go. It's in Miami. Your registration is waived. And Dina just told us you're right on the beach. So I can't imagine any event that you'd rather go to and spend your time in September. Dina, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and share with us all the amazing things about Stay Pineapple and AHLA and giving our listeners an idea of what to expect at the Independent Hotel Show. We really appreciate your time.
It was so much fun. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing everybody in Miami in September.
All right. Thank you so much, Dina.